Good morning. Welcome to Pat's Pondering. Hi. Welcome to Pat's Pondering. Today we're reading from Chicken Soup by this Chicken Soup. Blah, Chicken Soup for the Mother's Soul too. This one is The Pencil Box. I was deep in thought at my office, preparing a lecture to be given that evening at a college across town, when the phone rang. A woman I had never met introduced herself and said she was the mother of a 7-year-old and that she was dying. She said her therapist had advised her that discussing her pending death with her son would be too traumatic to him. But somehow that didn't feel right to her. Knowing that I worked with grieving children, she asked my advice. I told her that our heart is often softer than our brain, and that I thought she knew what would be the best for her son. I also invited her to attend the lecture of that night, since I was speaking about how children cope with death, and she said she would be there. I wondered later if I would recognize her at the lecture, but my question was answered when I saw a frail woman being half carried into the room by 2 adults. I talked about the fact that children usually sense the truth long before they're told, and that they often wait until they feel adults are ready to talk about it before sharing their concerns and questions. I said that children usually can handle truth better than denial, even though the denial is intended to protect them from pain. I said that respecting children meant including them in the family's sadness, not shutting them out. She had heard enough. At the break, she hobbled to the podium, and through her tears she said, "I knew it in my heart. I just knew I should tell him." She said that she would tell him that night. The next morning I received another phone call from her. She could hardly talk, but I managed to hear the story through her choked voice. She had awakened him when she got home the night before and quietly said, "Derek, I have something to tell you." Now remember, he's 7 years old. He quickly interrupted her, saying, "Oh, Mommy, is it now that you're going to tell me that you're dying?" She held him close, and they both sobbed while she said yes. After a few minutes, the little boy wanted down. He said that he had something for her that he had been saving. In the back of one of his drawers was a dirty pencil box. Inside the box was a letter written in simple scrawl. It said, "Goodbye, Mom. I will always love you." How long he had been waiting to hear the truth, I don't know. I do know that 2 days later, the young mother died. In her casket was placed a dirty pencil box and a letter. That was by Doris Sanford. Oh, it's hard when you're talking about children with death. I can remember when I was a child, my grandmother died. All I was told was, "Grandma died," and how she'd gotten her first Social Security check and she was so glad to have some money of her own, but she never got a chance to spend it. I don't remember anyone talking to me about grief or sadness or anything like that. I had a friend a few years back in Florida. She had 2 small children, and she had lost her husband to suicide. She said, "I cry in the shower so the boys won't see me cry." Now, at that time, and I've said this before, at that time she thought she was being a good mom by shielding her children. But what I know now is that that was not the thing to do. Children sense things. And now that they need to see when you're in pain, it's okay for them to be in pain. If you're crying, it's okay. You're giving them permission to cry. You don't want them burying those feelings for years and years and come out later and not have a good time. Children's feelings are just as important as adults' feelings when it comes to death. I pray that you will talk to your children about it when the time is right, and that you will help them in any way that you possibly can. Thank you. That's Pondering for today. See you next week. Bye-bye.